welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a really long time since I posted. Those of you know that I was pregnant, and for that reason I just stayed off of YouTube for a while, off of social media, just because I really wanted to focus on my pregnancy and my health. It was definitely a very interesting experience because my pregnancy was a lot different than a lot of others. So I'm not gonna ramble, I'm just gonna get right into it because it is pretty long. It might be kind of a long video, so let's just get right into it. I found out I was pregnant. It was towards the end of January. I never had a suspicion that I was pregnant. What happened was I had started losing a lot of weight in the beginning of the year. I lost almost 30 pounds. I would run miles every other day, about 3 or so. And I started noticing that I wasn't able to catch my breath anymore. I started having some pelvic pain. So I scheduled an appointment with my doctor and I saw him that next week, and I went in for my appointment. I, of course, explained everything that was going on from top to bottom, and I think in general when you're having any kind of issue there, they want to give you a pregnancy test. So of course they gave me a pregnancy test, and I came back waiting for the nurse, the doctor, and what seemed like forever, they finally came back into the room. The nurse came back into the room first, and I asked her what the test had said, thinking in my head that it was already negative, and she told me that she couldn't talk to me, that the doctor had to speak with me. So I was kind of like confused at that point. Then maybe 5 minutes later the doctor comes in and yeah, tells me I was pregnant. So from that point on, I was very scared to tell my parents. My parents are very strict, for those of you who know them. So telling them would be a very hard thing for me to do. My mom kind of already had suspicion that I was, just because of the kind of pain I was having, and I think my mom always suspects the worst in these kind of situations. So I went to the doctors, got checked. They told me to come back in like a week or so for some more blood testing. So they had tested me that day, and when they told me to come back, I went. I was living in Orange County at the time, and I went before I went to work. So I got tested. In my twin pregnancy video, which I'll link down below, someone had asked me if I had a suspicion that I was having twins. I did. It was because at Kaiser, I have Kaiser, so they give you like your charting and all your information online. So they gave it to me, and I checked my HCG levels or whatever. I checked that online, and it was about like at a 9,000 something. That was the number. When I went back 3 days later to get my blood drawn, the number had like doubled even more, and it was at like an 18,000. So you can see what information online, like it tells you. If you're concerned about the test, you can click the link at the bottom and it'll explain and break down why it has that number or how it could have that number. So when I was scrolling down and reading, it said, well, your child could be, you know, something could be wrong with the baby, Down syndrome, and then twins and multiples. So, you know, I always have a positive mindset. I am very healthy, so I thought, you know, what if I could have twins and multiples? So later on down the line, I started, you know, waiting for my next appointment to see the OBGYN, get my first ultrasound. At this point, my parents weren't as angry with me anymore, so we were on speaking terms again. And this would be my first appointment, my very first appointment, and no one could be there with me. So I asked one of my really good friends to come with me, and right there is when they told me that I was pregnant with twins. It was such a scary but exciting news for me because, you know, I never had siblings and I never thought it could be me to have twins. Twins do run in my family, so I just never thought it could have been me. And when I went home that day, I surprised my parents and they were definitely very shocked but very, very excited. Everything else was just falling into place. It seemed like I had a really good job. I actually was working 2 jobs at the time. I was very happy. I know a lot of you guys are wondering, where was baby daddy at this time? Honestly, I had to go over with him to see if this was okay to speak about, but me and baby daddy, I don't really like using the term, but I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm just gonna say my boyfriend, because he is my boyfriend now. My boyfriend at the time was very immature and I don't know, for some reason just wasn't there for me throughout some of my pregnancy. And for whatever reason, it was just, you know, lack of, like I said, lack of maturity. And he's definitely grown up a lot. We have been fixing things and doing pretty well. Hopefully it stays that way. And regardless, he's my best friend and we're so in love with these girls. So anyway, getting back into the story, getting closer to due date, they were always telling me that the babies were fine. I would get seen by the doctor at least 2 times a week. So by this time I already had to stop working when I was getting in the 20-week area. I had spoke with a specialist because at this point you don't see an OBGYN. The type of twins I had were monodi. I explained in the last video. They were in different sacs, shared the same placenta, so it's very risky. You know, a lot of babies have complications because of it. That's why I was seen so frequently. The specialist told me that I wouldn't make it to my due date, which was October 1st, because of twins are always born early, that kind of stuff. As the weeks were getting closer and closer and closer and closer, I was 34 weeks, so that week I had an appointment. It was a Thursday, so I went in and I was having contractions, but this was already happening. I was having contractions already, just very minor ones, but when I went to this appointment, the contractions were every 2 to 3 minutes. I just couldn't feel them. So they sent me over to the hospital. I was there and they kept me, and it was not until moments later, maybe a few hours later, that they finally admitted me into the hospital. And the contractions were coming very strong and more frequently. So they kept me there thinking that I was going to go into labor that same day. I did not. So, you know, this was already, you know, the next day. So I was in a lot of pain, but I refused to do any pain medication. I wanted to go through this natural because the girls were already head down, ready to come out. But I wasn't dilating enough. I was only at 2 centimeters. It was very annoying because I just wanted them out already if they were already putting me through this pain. So I was in, and also them being impatient because I wanted to meet them already. So day 1 was definitely really long. Day 2 was just as long, and if I didn't mention this before, I was in labor for 3 days. So what's that? Like 70 something hours. Sorry, I'm really bad. I can't think of this math right now in my head. On the last day when I was going into labor, what happened was they switched me rooms into the room where the women already delivered their babies, because they were confident that I wasn't going to go into labor. And of course, just when you least expect it, I had already planned out the night. Like, I'm going to eat dinner, I'm going to chill, play some games with my boyfriend's family, and maybe the babies will come out the next day, whatever. My mom was there, so I was relaxing. I was watching an episode of Friends, which ironically was the one where Rachel was going into labor, and I just thought it was so funny. My boyfriend's stepmom and aunt walk in, and Raymond just so happened to be in Fort Irwin, which is here in California, about 2 hours away, and he called me on the phone and said that they were gonna release him to come and see the girls be born. Right when he called me and told me that he was on his way and I hung up the phone, the contractions just started. It was so crazy. It was like, I don't know if the girls knew, like, okay, our dad's coming, so let's just come on out. And sure enough, the nurse came in. I don't know if I can't remember if someone had called the nurse or something was beeping. I don't remember. It just all happened so fast. The nurse comes in. She starts checking that little monitor on the side. And yeah, my contractions were every minute. My stomach was as hard as a rock, and she had the doctor come in and check me again, and I still was not dilated. It was so frustrating. And by that time, the doctor had looked at the chart on the monitor and told me right then and there, yes, you are in labor. I'm scheduling emergency C-section. So by that point, I lost it. I was crying, freaking out, because the thought of surgery just scares me. I don't know why. Because I know you don't feel anything and they make you as comfortable as you possibly can be, but the thought of it just worries me. They took me in as soon as possible. They gave me the option to try the natural birth, but you know, at this point, it's all about my girls' safety. I did not want them to break my water. I did not want them to insert anything. I just wanted them to be as safe and as healthy as possible. So we went C-section. When I got out, I felt fine. I got up and I walked and I went to go see the girls, and Raymond had just missed them by like 45 minutes. And it sucked, yeah, that he missed it, but you know, at the end, he got to spend a lot of time with me in the hospital and got to, you know, experience the girls that small and help take care of them. It was just a very beautiful experience. If I could do it again, I definitely would. I'm just grateful that, you know, my girls came out very healthy. Camila, my oldest daughter, she came out 4 pounds 7 ounces. Then a minute later, my little girl Cambria came out 5 pounds 7 ounces. So very healthy babies. They were in the NICU for a couple of days, but we got released, I think, by that next Wednesday. So we were almost there for a week. I'm just very blessed. God has blessed me so much with great health, healthy children. I couldn't ask for anything more. I know a lot of women, you know, have to go through their babies being in the NICU for a really long time, and it sucks. So yeah, I mean, that was my pregnancy story. It wasn't very dramatic, just very short and brief. I didn't believe or think that when you have kids that you could love someone so much, and it's true. It's honestly true. The love you have for your kids is incomparable to any other kind of love you feel for somebody else. It's just so beautiful and so genuine. You know, you do anything for your kids. So yeah, I'm sorry that this video was kind of boring. Like I said, it was just my pregnancy story. So that is it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night, wherever you are. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.